Happy Monday and welcome to the NEWSMAX Daily for September 23rd, 2024. The first Monday of fall, y'all. The 267th day of the year, which means there are now less than 100 days left in 2024 and 42 days until Election Day. Although early voting is already underway in Virginia, Vermont, Minnesota, Mississippi, and a few other states, and it begins later this week in Illinois as well.
Get your friends and get your family, get everyone you know, and make a plan to vote for Trump. We want to vote for Trump to take our country back.
Former President Donald Trump participating in a tele-rally with Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin last night to discuss the presidential election and encourage Virginians to take advantage of early voting, something that Trump hadn't necessarily been a fan of in the past.
You've heard a lot about voting by mail, but that's what we have right now, and you can check to see and make sure it registers, but you can cast your ballot, vote by mail.
Vice President Harris, meanwhile, attended a fundraising event in New York City yesterday where there's a lot of talk this morning about the 25, 26, 27 million that she raised. She's back in D.C. today. President Biden, who, let's say, had another moment over the weekend, is going to New York today for the UN General Assembly, where he is scheduled to speak tomorrow. And again, the whole world will be watching the UN General Assembly. And he is still the acting current president of the United States. Did you see this over the weekend? Biden hosted 3 world leaders at his home in Delaware for what was called the Quad Alliance, with Biden being the 4th world leader. There was a lot of talk of it late last week leading up to the weekend.
So I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next? Who's next?
Distinguished guests, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
Then there was a long pause while the president stood there looking angry and confused before some PA announcer came on and introduced Prime Minister Modi of India. Tomorrow morning, he is going to address the UN General Assembly, as I said, which will be carried live in over 100 countries. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, by the way, is also going to be a speaker there, not tomorrow, but later in the week. And former President Donald Trump met with the Prime Minister of Qatar yesterday at his home in Florida. The Prime Minister of Qatar, along with Egypt, as you know or may know, is very involved with the Israel-Hamas negotiations. So that's interesting, and you're not going to hear much about that today. Meanwhile, the former president is hosting another Make America Great Again rally tonight in Indiana, Pennsylvania, home of the Jimmy Stewart Museum. This after the big rally Saturday in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Here in North Carolina, migrant crime is totally out of control, encouraged by sanctuary jurisdictions, sanctuary cities all across your state. In July, an illegal alien who Border Czar Harris released him, special order, into our country, was arrested for stalking a woman into a public bathroom in Charlotte and attempting to rape her and ultimately rape her and hurt her very badly. Here in Wilmington last month, an illegal alien from Venezuela brutally stabbed a man to death. This murder came just 4 days after he was arrested for horrible domestic violence. But instead of being deported, this criminal alien was released to kill again. Kill again he did. And in June, a fugitive illegal alien criminal from Honduras was arrested after savagely murdering a 23-year-old in the sanctuary jurisdiction of Mecklenburg. Anybody come from Mecklenburg County? You read about it. That was a big one. That was a bad one. Nasty, nasty. Today, I'm announcing a new plan to end all sanctuary cities in North Carolina and all across our country. No more sanctuary cities. Uncle Sam, do you agree? Uncle Sam agrees. I had a feeling you would, right? You're great. As soon as I take office, we will immediately surge federal law enforcement to every city that is failing, which is a lot of them, to turn over criminal aliens, and we will hunt down, capture every single gang member, drug dealer, rapist, murderer, and migrant criminal that is being illegally harbored Every one of the top 25 worst cities are Democrat-run cities. We will get them out of North Carolina, and we will send them home where they belong. I will ask Congress to pass a law outlawing sanctuary cities nationwide, and we will bring down the full weight of the federal government on any jurisdiction that refuses to cooperate with ICE and these are great patriots, ICE and Border Patrol and our great Border Patrol. They're not allowed to do their job. They want to do their job. They're not allowed. Within 2 years, there will not be one single foreign criminal gang operated in North Carolina or anywhere else. You have a lot of gangs. Hate to say it, you have a lot of gangs in this state. Are there any gang members in the audience, please? Would you please raise your hand? So that's the choice. Kamala Harris will fly criminal migrants into every one of your cities and towns. Did you see that? They're saying, well, we've decided to get tough on crime. You know, like 2 weeks ago, because they want to try and get some votes because they're not doing so good. This issue is not a good one for them. But did you see? And then we learned that they're flying them in beautiful, big, fat, beautiful Boeing aircraft, just like that one, with more seats, actually. I have fewer seats in mine than they do. But they fly them in with beautiful aircraft. They fly them all over the country by the hundreds of thousands. They're flying in over the border. So they don't want to stop them because they're continuing the flights into our country. You know, you read some of this and you hear the facts. You find it hard to believe it could be happening, actually, because, you know, the Republican Party has become a party of common sense. I call it the party of common sense. We're conservative. We're all of the same, but it's become a party. Where is the common sense? In open borders and high taxes and the job numbers that I just read to you. Even Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said this week, quote, the influx across the borders has been one of the things that has allowed unemployment to rise and rise substantially. To save your jobs, you must vote for Trump. Very simple. Very simple.
Donald Trump speaking at a rally in Wilmington, North Carolina on Saturday. Trump's senior advisor, Jason Miller, spoke with Rob Finnerty on Wake Up America this morning.
Yeah, this is great news. And to go and kind of break it down and put it in perspective for you. So with President Trump leading in these Sun Belt states, we talk about Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina. That means he just needs to get one of the Great Lakes states. We talk about Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. You just have to get one. And poll after poll shows President Trump leading in Pennsylvania. We've seen polls showing us narrow leading in Wisconsin. And same thing with Michigan, showing us with a slight lead there. But he only needs to win one of those. I think he's in position to go and sweep the table like he did in 2016. But the reason, Rob, and you asked what has changed, what's become different. President Trump over the last couple of weeks has really started to lay out his vision. Here's what he's going to do on taxes and to bring prices down in the economy. Here's what he's going to do to secure our border. But Kamala Harris has either been hiding from the media or she goes on to shows like Oprah and can't answer a basic question and give some gobbledygook word salad that goes viral and people realize, hey, there doesn't seem to be a lot going on there.
Yeah, meantime, what's going on at the White House? Jill Biden led the first Biden cabinet meeting in 11 months over the weekend. I think it was Friday at the White House. And then this scene, very bizarre, Jason, but Joe Biden is in Delaware Saturday. The Prime Minister of India is on this very small stage they set up not far from Joe Biden's Rehoboth Beach house. And Joe Biden forgot that he was standing next to the Prime Minister of the largest democracy on the planet. And this happened. Take a look.
So I want to thank you all for being here. And now, who am I introducing next? Who's next?
Distinguished guests, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
Okay, so Jason, the reason I bring this out, Donald Trump's not running against, I agree with you, I'm shaking my head too. Donald Trump's not running against Joe Biden anymore, but Joe's still in charge, and we are on the precipice of a war in the Middle East, the likes of which we haven't seen in more than a generation. How concerned are you about this guy being able to handle that crisis should it arise?
I'm very concerned. I mean, I'm not comfortable that Joe Biden could handle tying his own shoes, let alone leading the country at this point. Do you want to know why Putin rolled into Ukraine? Do you want to know why Iran feels emboldened and they're sending money to Hezbollah and Hamas, and we're seeing the resulting attacks on Israel over this past year? It's because they smell weakness. Ever since the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, our foreign adversaries have realized that the lights might be on, but nobody is home with Joe Biden. This goes back to the point of who is really running the country. This is the question that you asked. I think Joe Biden is more of a figurehead on something like the cabinet, which, by the way, it's weird when you have the first lady lead a cabinet meeting. That just I don't even remember crooked Hillary doing that back in the day. But really, I think the person who's kind of the wizard behind the curtain here is Kamala Harris. She's the border czar. She's the one who he sent to the Munich conference to try to convince Russia to not invade Ukraine. She was the last one in the room for the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. Kamala Harris's fingerprints are all over the disasters from this administration. That's why, if you want to get things back on track and turn it around, we got to get President Trump across the finish line.
Yeah. Where is the former president with the possibility of a third debate? I know right now that he's certainly publicly saying that he won't debate again. What if Kamala were to agree to a debate on Newsmax or on Fox, or a debate where Trump gets to pick a moderator and Kamala gets to pick a moderator? And the only reason I ask is typically we have debates, well into election season when people are already voting. In 2016, Trump debated Hillary on October 19th. That was less than 3 weeks before Election Day.
Well, I think President Trump is right. The date that Kamala Harris wants is too late. People are already starting to vote now. Even in my home state where I now live in Virginia, people started voting this past week. So people are out and voting. But also, too, the way that Kamala Harris immediately reacted and said she wanted another debate is because they know that the fundamentals of this race truly haven't changed. They think a stacked debate, another 3-on-1 encounter to try to go and swing some momentum her direction. But President Trump is saying, no, I'm not going to go and give you that opportunity to have a 3-on-1 pileup. I won the first debate. You lost it. Besides, I also debated Joe Biden. You just want this because you want to put it in an arena where you think that the mainstream media will try to be your friend and try to help you across the finish line. The fact of the matter is Kamala Harris has no vision. And what track record she does has led to the disaster with the economy and the border. So President Trump is in the driver's seat right now. I don't see another debate happening.
That's Jason Miller, senior campaign advisor to the Trump 2024 campaign on Wake Up America. And let's go back to yesterday. This is NEWSMAX's Lidia Curanaj on Sunday Agenda, talking about women who may vote for Kamala Harris mainly because she's a woman.
Listen, I would love a female president. I want to be able to say to my daughter Julia someday, look at her. You too can be president. You too can achieve anything. But guys, just like Hillary wasn't the one, neither is Kamala. We have to do better. We can do better. The problem is many women like Liz Cheney and Hillary Clinton, they don't like Trump as a person. They think he's a jerk. They've been radicalized. They've been brainwashed by the media, manipulated, using their emotions, which then override their common sensibilities. Don't believe me? Well, listen to Bill Maher's audience's reaction when he brings up the second attempt on Trump's life.
The big story this week, they tried to shoot Trump again. That's not funny. Okay. I'm being serious now. That's the second time this happened. I said this before. There can be no fuzz on this. This is not funny. Okay? It's not okay. It's not okay to wish it happened. Well, this is a problem.
Do you hear who's laughing? Mostly it's women. Listen, is Trump perfect? Absolutely not. No person and no candidate ever will be. But God saved Trump's life twice now for a reason. And yes, I truly believe that it was divine intervention. That is the only reason why Trump moved his head at that perfect moment, at that perfect angle to avoid that bullet from entering right into his brain. You can call me a nut, call me whatever, but this was not a coincidence. I also don't believe that the Secret Service agent just happened to notice the barrel of that AK-47 sticking through the hole of that fence amid the brush. Nope. That was God, folks. Democrats, they want to make this race about joy and laughter, but it's so much bigger than this. This election, it's about peace. It's about prosperity. It's about God. It is about good versus evil. Kamala has shown the world who she is. Installed and endorsed by the powerful elites, unaffected by inflation, unaffected by the border crisis. People like Oprah, Julia Roberts, Meryl Streep, Taylor Swift. Meantime, who publicly supports Trump? People like the mother of Rachel Marin, parents of Jocelyn Ngari, real Americans who have felt firsthand the devastation and destruction Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have caused this nation.
I really want our words to be heard, and I really want you to take to heart what we're saying. We're not here for a political stand, although we are. We're here because we're losing our moms, our daughters, our children to criminals.
If this continues, folks, we will lose everything. So, yes, I believe with all my heart that God is protecting Trump, because that man, that guy right there, he is the only thing that can save this country from the brink of no return.
That's Lidia Curanaj on Sunday Agenda. Earlier in the show, Lidia dug up this immigration clip from then candidate Barack Obama.
This is not going to be a free ride. It's not going to be some instant amnesty. What's going to happen is you are going to pay a significant fine. You are going to learn English. You are going to go to the back of the line so that you don't get ahead of somebody who was in Mexico City applying legally.
Amazing, right? Where did that guy go, and where did that party go? You will go to the back of the line and you will learn how to speak English. Barack Obama, who deported more than 3 million illegal immigrants during his presidency. Now the Democrats try to use all of Trump's plan to deport illegals against him. It's just amazing. On Saturday Report, host Rita Cosby spoke with New York Congressman Anthony D'Esposito, who was at the New York Trump rally on Long Island last week.
New York Republican Congressman Anthony D'Esposito, who was there. And Congressman, by the way, you got one of the loudest cheers. I was watching the rally, and when they said your name, the whole crowd, 16,000 people, and probably the same amount or more outside, they were all cheering you on. How was it to be there? And why do you think his message resonated so much in Long Island, New York?
It was a great experience, Rita. You know, the crowd was electrified. There was so much excitement. And I think it's simple. I think that people across Long Island and other parts of New York State have seen the disastrous policies of Kathy Hochul, of Mayor Adams, of these far left, this woke agenda that is spreading throughout New York. And I would argue, and I've said it before, that Kathy Hochul is probably the most ineffective governor that we've ever had in New York State. I mean, she's managed somehow to not only anger Republicans and conservatives, but there's also Democrats and independents who can't stand her either. So I think that President Trump really talked about the issues that matter most. He talked about the issues that when Long Islanders go home and sit around their dinner table, the things that keep people up at night, those are what he was addressing. He was talking about our economy. He was talking about making things more affordable. He was talking about foreign policy. I mean, I represent one of the most Jewish districts in the country. Talked about the relationship between Israel and the United States of America, and the fact that, you know, I firmly believe that if foreign policy was handled correctly, we wouldn't have seen a Chinese spy balloon fly over the continental U.S. We wouldn't have seen these terrorists invade Israel. We wouldn't have seen the advances that have been made into Ukraine by Russia. And he talked about crime, and he talked about restoring SALT, something that the New York delegation, especially us freshmen, myself, Lota Molinaro, Lawler, and others have been fighting so hard for. He talked about changing course and restoring SALT. So I think he hit all of the issues that really mattered most to New Yorkers.
Yeah, and of course, that would be a great tax incentive for New Yorkers, and that's a big message. You also talked about, you hit it on crime. He talked about how we went on the subway. I thought it was a great story, how when he was younger, he'd go on the subway, his parents would say, good luck, no problems, not worried, and now you have to wear a Kevlar vest when you go onto a New York subway. I mean, it's a big concern. The other thing, too, I want to hit on, because I know we just have about a minute or so left with you here, Congressman, your reactions. You're a former law enforcement officer. Secret Service Acting Director Ron Rowe had this to say about the recent thwarted assassination attempt against President Trump. It's amazing. He was at the rally literally just days after what he went through. And here is the acting director talking about the latest attempt.
There's heavy uniform presence out there. And again, what I go back to is yesterday was an off-the-record movement. off the record. And the president wasn't even really supposed to go there. It was not on his official schedule. And so we put together a security plan, and that security plan worked.
The security plan worked. I have to ask you that. When I heard that, I thought, are you kidding me? And then he also was patting Mayorkas on the back, who we haven't seen anywhere. DHS oversees Secret Service. And again, Mayorkas, like he's MIA on the border, is MIA on these assassination attempts against a former president of the United States. Your thoughts, Congressman?
Well, there should be no patting of the back of Secretary Mayorkas, that's for sure. Not only has he failed in this instance, but he's obviously allowed nearly 15 million people to cross our border illegally.
That's New York Republican Representative Anthony D'Esposito on Saturday Report with Rita Cosby. One of the many great weekend shows, part of the fantastic weekend lineup on Newsmax, Saturdays, 11 a.m. Eastern. The other big headline that you'll be hearing a lot about today from the weekend is Speaker Johnson's plan to avert a government shutdown. He rolled it out yesterday. Johnson's plan would fund the government until December 20th. It includes $230 million for Secret Service funding, but does not include passing the SAVE Act, which is aimed at requiring proof of citizenship to vote. It failed to pass a vote last week, and then Trump said if Congress couldn't get the SAVE Act passed, they may have to let the government shut down. You wouldn't think having proof of citizenship to vote in the presidential election would be such a contentious issue, but of course it is. And then Johnson rolled out this plan to avert the government shutdown on Sunday, so a lot of Republicans are not happy. And the 58-year-old man accused of planning the second assassination attempt on Donald Trump's life at his golf course is due in a West Palm Beach federal court today for a pre-detention hearing. He's facing a variety of felony gun charges. And on Wall Street, stocks kicked off the new week slightly mixed. The Dow a little lower, the S&P and the NASDAQ a little bit higher. Basically a flat opening. Big business headlines, though. The machinist strike at Boeing is now leading to the furlough of thousands of corporate workers there to help the company save money. And close to 1,700 General Motors production line workers at a Kansas facility are being laid off. You can keep up with all of the news on Newsmax and Newsmax.com. Make sure you're streaming on Newsmax Plus as well. For the complete lineup of all of your favorite Newsmax shows, hosts, and guests, simply go to NewsmaxPlus.com. Don't forget the Trump rally from Pennsylvania, 7 o'clock tonight on Newsmax 2. I'm Tony Marino. Thank you, as always, for listening to the NEWSMAX Daily. Make sure you subscribe on whatever podcast platform you may be listening on, or simply go to newsmax.com/listen, where you can get this and all of the other great Newsmax podcasts as well. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. It's a Monday Night Football doubleheader. Jaguars at the Bills, the Washington Commanders at the Cincinnati Bengals. Yesterday was an absolute unmitigated disaster for my Miami Dolphins. See you back here tomorrow, and keep on fighting the good fight.
News breaks every minute, every day. You need the app, the NEWSMAX app. Find it free on your smartphone store. Then watch us anytime, anywhere.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is NEWSMAX. It's real news for real people.